Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing good. Now, today I've got a very special guest. I'm joined by a big Chelsea fan, Miss Prime, and I'm so excited for this. I mean, for us, it doesn't feel like a massive game, but I think when we play each other, it's always a big game. It's always, we've got that history behind it as well, and it's always, yeah, a big game. And I'm looking forward to previewing it with you today. But first of all, how are you doing?
Me, I've been good. Um, yeah, like you said, this game feels a bit weird. It's like
Yeah.
meh. Usually Chelsea, Arsenal, it means something.
Yeah.
But you know, the our players, certain players being out injured or not in form, and just we're not fighting for anything. Chelsea are still fighting for top four, but it
Yeah.
still feels kind of meh. I don't know. Maybe the feeling will be different tomorrow, like an hour before kickoff. But as of
Yeah.
right now, I'm just quite yeah, meh
Yeah.
about it.
I'm with you. I suppose for you guys, because you're probably trying to get top four. I know you're at top four right now, but because you want to get that spot, I suppose that's your goal. But for us, it's like we're so far off from Liverpool. It feels like we're just gonna have to just try and get a second. Because if we think about it, Arsenal are probably more closer to where you are than we are to Liverpool. But I think if we're able to just sort of maintain where we are, I think that's all we can do. But like you said, it usually feels like a big build up for this game. I think if Arsenal were a little closer to Liverpool, it would be a bit more exciting going into this game. But for you guys, you definitely want to get top four. Would you say this game is quite big for you guys in like for getting that top four position?
Yes, I think we have to win this because
Yeah,
we face a lot of big sides towards this running now for the end of the season. You have to play Newcastle at St James's Park. We play United at the Bridge. And even though United have been poor this season,
yeah,
it's still going to be a big game. Um, we play Liverpool as well at the Bridge, like difficult sides. So, and we haven't won a big game all season. Like with all due respect, I don't treat Spurs as a big game.
yeah,
Because Chelsea usually beat them. So if we can go beat Arsenal, regardless of, I know you're not in the best of form, but like if we
yeah,
can still beat Arsenal, that can hopefully give us something going towards the remaining games of the season. And also with City dropping points as well just now, that helps us because even though a point will do, getting 3 points can like push us a bit
yeah.
more in this season in top four because what we've been doing the past few years, we really need Champions League football.
Yeah, I definitely think considering last season how much you struggled, I definitely think this season, I think if you could get top four, it would be, a big improvement from last season. But I know with Chelsea, I mean, growing up, you guys were always sort of winning stuff, challenging. Do you think you can challenge soon for the league? Because I know, like you said, Man City dropped off this season. I expect them to get better next season. Same with Liverpool, and I hope we will obviously, improve in the summer. But with Chelsea, do you think they could compete next season?
Mm, no, realistically, because
Yeah,
I know the sort of signings that we're going to make. And it's weird because when you look at the when you look at what's been going on this season, City just falling off a cliff, Arsenal not
yeah,
starting well, Liverpool they deserve the title, but they've capitalized on two title rivals not being at it. Chelsea should have been able to do the same thing. If we had bought a
yeah,
quality striker, we'd bought a goalkeeper, we'd bought a quality centre back, we had a backup defensive midfielder for Lavia. The season could have been a lot different. Maybe we could have sustained the supposed title push we were in back in December, and the last few months wouldn't have happened, and we could have been a lot closer to the title. Who knows what would have happened? But
yeah.
yeah, we're so close, but we're not going to do what's required to make the jump for next season. So I don't see us realistically. I don't see us competing, but
Yeah,
I
it's.
don't know.
I
We'll
think,
see.
yeah, next season's going to be tough as well because Man City, I definitely think they'll improve, and Liverpool, I expect them to continue to do what they're doing, and obviously Arsenal, I expect us to obviously be there, but I think it's so hard to talk about this now, isn't it? Because I think a lot of it does depend on the summer. I think if the clubs bring in the right players, I think that'll definitely help. But I definitely think this season's been crazy. I mean, for Arsenal, I think I never would have thought we we would be like this. I mean, if you look at it on paper, we're second, which isn't bad. But I think for us, these sort of games feel like quite not pointless, but as we're so far away from Liverpool, it feels a bit tough. But as someone an outsider, what have you made of Arsenal's season? Considering the last two seasons we've been playing really good, we've been quite close to winning the league. In this season, it feels like we've fallen off a little bit with the league.
I think I still stand by what I think of Arsenal like 2 years ago when you guys challenged out of nowhere and you sustained it for so long. I think
Yeah.
you're good enough to be winning major honors.
Mm.
There's certain players in your team I may not rate, for example, like a Havertz, but
Yeah.
the team, the way you guys actually play and function, it still works. We've seen teams win trophies, win titles with certain players in their 11 that we don't necessarily rate. People don't rate Henderson, but look at what Klopp was able to win with
Yeah.
him being the captain, for example. But I think Arsenal's biggest problem is mentality in big moments, in key moments.
Yeah.
Like an example, when at the beginning of the season, when you guys had that run where you played Villa, Spurs, and City, I predicted that you guys would get 7 points from that run because the way Arsenal are, you guys can beat teams like at the beginning of the season when there's no pressure. When
Yeah.
things start to boil, for example, West Ham a few weeks ago, Man United last weekend, when things we've seen Liverpool drop points since January, but you guys have also dropped points the same weekend, and I think that's the problem with Arsenal. You have it's not a quality issue now; it's not a skills issue; it's just the mentality,
Yeah.
and I think that stems from Arteta. I think Arteta is a very good coach. He like the big polarizing Arteta in, Arteta out stuff, where people don't give him the credit for what he's been able to do at Arsenal. But I think part of why it's tough to give him the credit is because you're at a certain point now where is the end result now? This is not like
Yeah.
3 years ago where you guys were still eighth and you guys were still struggling, and it's about giving him time. He's had the time. He's had a lot of money. Like we need something to show. I mean, Arsenal spent 100 million on Rice, and
Yeah.
that's Arsenal don't spend the big money like that. You spend big money on Havertz. You typically don't do that, especially
Yeah.
on two players in the same window. And that should have been the sign to say, okay, we're going to start winning majors now. And you guys have nothing to show over the last 3 years of this like uh
Yeah.
challenging period. No, like not even like a domestic. And it's similar to what Poch did at Spurs, where you've built up this amazing young team, brilliant, you're challenging, but you get to a point where if you're not good enough, you need to bring in someone that is, or else eventually the team will either age out or certain players will leave. You saw
Yeah.
Ericsson leave at Spurs, Walker went to City, Deli Ali just faded away, and eventually the team like just the investment stopped from leaving, and then the team that was left was when Jose went there. The team that was left was Eric Dyer at center back and Ben Davis and Kane. We've
Yeah.
seen now Kane's left. He was the one keeping things together barely by a thread. And
Yeah.
something similar could happen at Arsenal. Saliba's linked to Real Madrid, for example. You look at Saka, he's brilliant, but when you start putting Saka in conversations with Vinny, Rodrigo, everyone keeps saying, "What have you won?" When you put Saliba in conversations with a Van Dijk or a Rudiger, what have you won? You know, and that's the big thing. Certain players will start turning their heads because, as great as it is at
Yeah.
Arsenal, you do have to start winning. And I think that stems from Arteta. Like he does need to, you guys need to go for someone better. And people will say, well, who is out there? But Liverpool got Klopp. Klopp left, Liverpool got Slot, and they're winning. They're going to go win the league this season. So like you
Yeah.
never necessarily know until you try. who knew Arteta would be able to get even to this point? Like, he's still a very young manager. You
Yeah.
know, like he might be good enough to win a title in 10 years, in 5 years, probably. But Arsenal are at a
Mm.
point where I can't keep giving you more time. I need to win now.
Yeah, it is hard as well because I think at the end of last season, I thought if we bring in a striker, if we bring in like a few attackers, I think this season is ours to win. And I knew Liverpool would be competing again because they've obviously got a new manager, and I had that feeling Liverpool would be back there. Never would I ever have thought Man City would be where they are right now. But because Man City can afford to do that, they've won so much over the last few years. They can have one-off season. But I think for us, like you said, the silverware, I think it is a massive problem because, like I said with Saliba, these players are going to be here, right? Maybe this season, well, next season coming up. But is he going to stay with us, when his contract ends? Is he going to stay with us in 2 years if we're still not winning stuff? And I don't think he wouldn't. You wouldn't blame him for leaving. I wouldn't blame him, especially to Madrid, who I think are incredible, especially in the Champions League. They've been so successful. So I think these are problems that we're having at the moment because I don't really expect us to win the Champions League. I don't think it's realistic for us to say that. But obviously, if we get past Madrid, then my confidence will go up. But I think this season it's just been a bit disappointing. And I think, like as you mentioned with Havertz before, I think even him in this team, I think we would still struggle with him because we have been looking very predictable, like even with Saka in the team, even with Havertz, and you're having to rely on players like Saka to really, and Ranieri now, to really win your games when they're really very young. And yes, they can help us win and do things, but I think we need to bring in a striker, and it's so like annoying that we haven't. But I think with Arsenal, especially going into this game, we can do so good against PSV and then draw to United. I just don't get how we work. It's so frustrating. But for you, your season, has it been what you expected? How are you sort of feeling about your season at the moment?
Um, I've not been surprised really,
Mm.
barring like some of the injuries to like
Yeah,
Jackson and stuff. I've not really been surprised. It's gone how I more or less expected. That
yeah,
we'd start off very well, we'd fade, and then Chelsea fans would turn on Maresca. you know,
yeah,
uh, and also I saw when people were getting excited in December, I kept saying we only look like we're in a title race because City and Arsenal just fell off.
yeah,
We're not really that good. If City and Arsenal did what they were supposed to do, we'd be fifth, maybe like 5 points away from you guys. But people would say, you know what, Chelsea are just doing what we have to do, but we're not. We're not ready to challenge yet. People would accept it. But because we looked like we were close, people got excited, and then when we fell away, um, people started like,
yeah,
yeah, it was crazy. But um, we're still season's going how I expected, but like I was saying earlier, it's still frustrating because with certain signings, if we had made back in the summer, we could really have been in this title race. It's crazy how you look at it. If we had prepared properly for Arsenal and City falling away, who knows what could have happened. But
yeah.
I
It's
just feel like,
crazy. Yeah,
yeah, no, go on.
I was gonna say it's crazy, isn't it? Like I think you look back on so much stuff, don't you? We're sort of in the middle towards the end, and you look back on so much things. And like you said, I mean, I never thought Man City would have dropped off. I never thought Arsenal would have these amount of injuries. But I also won't blame on the injuries either for Arsenal because we have had opportunities to bring in strikers, but we've chosen not to for whatever reason. So I think for Chelsea, like you said, in hindsight, could you have done things differently? It's crazy to sort of think how the season's gone for like a lot of teams.
Yeah, but we have certain like Lavia is back. Fofana played against Leicester. He should be playing tomorrow. Jackson will be back after the international break.
Yeah,
So, and we've just won four in the bounce. So hopefully, if like we go beat Arsenal, like, and then we come out of the international break with players still fit, we can have a good end to the season
yeah,
in the league and get top four and like
Yeah.
hopefully go next season for something. But yeah, it's just
Yeah.
I'm no I don't know if you speak to other Chelsea fans, maybe they'd be more angry at certain things, but I'm
Yeah.
things. It's kind of what I
Yeah.
expected, so I can't necessarily be angry at like people are complaining about like the ownership and stuff, but like these are the same fans who were praising the ownership when we were signing
Yeah.
certain players. So it's like I don't know. We'll um well, it's we'll kind of see, but it's just things are just kind of drab right now. If Chelsea were in better form and we were looking good, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd be talking a bit in a different way. But like as of right now, I just know what we are. We've won our last 4 games. Haven't been per se the best performance, but it's been a lot more controlled than things were back in like December and stuff in January. I know what we are right now. Like
Yeah.
we got outclassed by Ipswich, so I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
expecting us to go batter Copenhagen, who are one of the better teams in the Conference League, and we just knocked them out. So like people just need to be honest about what things are. People will complain that they don't rate certain players in our team, and then they'll still expect those said players to go and batter a team that's actually good. Like I don't get why people complain like that. It doesn't make sense to me. But
Yeah, it's so tough going into this game as well for both teams because I think, like we mentioned before, I think if this meant more, like we always know Arsenal and Chelsea is a big game, but I think because Arsenal, with the league, I just don't have much optimism. Like it doesn't excite me finishing second again, and for you guys, I think finishing fourth, is the best that you can do at the moment, considering a lot of factors. But as you mentioned with Chelsea, because so many teams have dropped off, you could have had opportunities to go higher in the league. But I just wanted to read out this question. Big up, Ekin. Kevin. Arsenal's biggest problem is the lack of squad depth. Go look at the bench and name players that come on off the bench and make an impact. I mean, like, I really can't argue with that because, I mean, it depends who does generally play, but if Tierney's probably someone that would come on, but I think like that is a good point because I think we don't have much options, and I do think as well we have ourselves to blame a little bit with that. I know the injuries have happened, but Havertz and Saka are the sort of the main ones that would start, and we do. I think we miss Saka a lot. I think he's really dragged us through the last few years, and he's hopefully be back soon. I don't want to rush Saka. That would be a big mistake from us if we did rush him. Um, but if he was ready in the Champions League to play, then obviously I would like to see that. But big up yourself. That's a really good point. I wanted to ask you a bit about Cole Palmer this season because I know recently he's been a bit off, and do you know what? He's a player that I do actually like. Just talked to me about him lately. Like for me, watching as an outsider, I just don't think he's been at his best.
yeah, he's been the last like 2 months or so. He's been poor. Uh, I think it's just a mixture of being burnt out,
Yeah,
overplayed, and now these last few games he's trying too hard because he knows he's in bad form,
yeah,
and he's aware of the pressure at Chelsea being our best player, and he's that doesn't help the fact that he's just trying too hard. He should have been dropped like ages ago, but again, like with Arsenal, we don't have anyone
Mm.
on the bench that
yeah,
can come in and play for him, and maybe with a more experienced manager, he would have taken Palmer out earlier. And even the same with Jackson. Before Jackson got injured, he was also in poor form, and he would have taken them both out earlier to like reset themselves. But we just kept playing them through this bad form, and now it's difficult to get out of it. And I don't know. That's why I'm hopeful for this international break for Palmer. But he's now got called up with England, which means I'm assuming he's going to play at least one of the games. I know
yeah,
they're qualifiers, but England are not playing anyone of note, really. I don't
yeah,
think so. I don't know. Hopefully, he gets a bit of a rest and he can come um, back on form. Because if we're gonna need him to get top four, but he's not my
yeah,
biggest worry. My biggest worry is Sanchez.
yeah. Yeah, I think I definitely agree with you. I do think there's a good player in him, but I think just at the moment, like you said, maybe having that pressure on himself to do the best, I think it must be hard because he's a very important player for Chelsea. But yeah, I do agree. But I definitely think with the England squad, like it is crazy to sort of hope that these players do get a rest. I'm really happy as well, touching on that as well, like Ben White as well. He's just come back, and I'm glad that he's not been in the England squad. I think he's just started to play. I do think with Ben White though, I think when he's been playing recently, I wouldn't really start him for the game tomorrow. I think Timber for me has been absolutely incredible this season. And I wanted to ask you a bit about the lineup. What lineup would you go for Chelsea for the game?
Uh, I would go. What I would go, or what do I think is going to happen?
Just go what you would go for. Because what you want won't happen probably. Same with me
No,
for Arsenal.
I want Jorgensen, but I know it's going to be Sanchez, unfortunately. Uh, I think okay. Sanchez, unfortunately, Reese, Afana, Colwell, Kukurea, and I think it'll be one of Reese or Kukurea inverting into midfield. Um, Caicedo, Enzo. I think Lavia will probably come on to close out the game. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Um, because he didn't even play against Copenhagen at home, which I assumed he would. Um, actually, I don't even. Actually, no. Hold on. Madueke is also still out. Um, oh, okay. So no, I think that he might do. Um, I think okay. So yeah, Sanchez, Reese, Fofana, Colwell, Kukurea. Um, I think Lavia then will start. Caicedo, Lavia, Enzo,
Yeah.
Palmer on the right, Neto playing as the nine because Jackson and Ewer are still out, and then Sancho off the left.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I do think it's going to be a tough one. I mean, for Arsenal, I just never know with Arteta like what he's going to do. I would be happy to see something different, to be honest. I'd like if he went for something random, I'd be like, you know what, you're changing something. Thanks,
Yeah, he's
because
been playing Tierney left
yeah.
wing. Why has he been doing that?
Do you know what is funny? The other day, when we played PSV, we obviously knew we'd already won, so I knew we would have a weaker lineup. But there was like three left backs on at one point, and I was like, okay, I was like, what is going on here? But for this one, I think with Arteta, like as you mentioned before, he's a good coach and he's taken Arsenal a lot further than what I thought he would have taken us. But I think he goes for the same thing and he's quite sensible. Like in his head, I'd rather him take a risk sometimes and go for something different. But obviously I expect Raya to play Timber, Gabriel Saliba. I mean, Lewis Skelly, I really like him. I think he's done amazing. But you know, I wouldn't mind either as well if Tierney did get a chance to play because I just really like him. I know it's his last season here at Arsenal. I don't really think that he gets much game time. But obviously, if I had the choice, Lewis Skelly. Obviously in midfield, Rice, Odegaard. It's really hard, really. Partey sort of had a bit of time, but I'd probably play Partey actually. I think he's had a better season this season, and I do agree. I'd probably just play Ranieri, maybe Trossard and Martinelli, but Marino, I don't know. He might get a chance. Marino's not really. I didn't know what I think of Marino just yet. I just wanted to say big up to Rookie Cookie. About the lineup, Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori. Calafori's a good shout. I think I definitely think Calafiori is good in the attacking sense. I just think defensively, I just worry about him in this game. And Partey, Rice, Odegaard, Ranieri, Trossard, Martinelli. Yeah, that I would be happy if that's what I think on table. That isn't a bad lineup for this game, to be honest with you. It's a must win. Uh, it's so weird, really saying it's a must win because I thought, like you said, the West Ham game a few weeks ago when we were 5 points behind Liverpool, I was like, if we win this, then we've got a great chance to catch Liverpool because we still have to go to Anfield as well, which is not
Oh, you
what
still
I
have to go
want.
to Anfield.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And
Oh, is that the game?
let me check
'Cause I
now.
think Liverpool have like 6 games left or something to like officially win the title, and then
Yeah.
you guys give them a guard of honor at Anfield.
Oh no, let me just check on my phone. Oh God. The 10th of May, we have to go to Anfield. Oh, that is so annoying because if you think about it, weeks ago, I'd think to myself, if we win there, if we did
Yeah.
hypothetically, we could really help ourselves with the title. But it just feels like a nothing game. Like if we win, it doesn't mean much. But I don't really see us winning anyway. Yeah, in May. Yeah, that's that's going to be a tough one because we have made it easy for Liverpool because if we're being honest, Liverpool have dropped a lot of points this season. Like they've drawn quite a few, I think. And as you mentioned before, we've not really capitalised on their mistakes, which, like, I do think a big part is the pressure of that. Like the pressure of, when we're under pressure, we do really bad. So I think that's a big part to play. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to that game at all. What is your score predictions for the game tomorrow?
I think it's gonna be 1-1. I really want to win this game. We have to win. Like, I don't even care how we play. I don't
Yeah,
care what happens.
yeah.
Controversy. If we scam it, I don't care. But we like what? We're 6 points away from Arsenal. Do you know how crazy that
If you
is?
win that, I think
We're
if you
six
win,
points
we're in a
away.
top four race.
I don't think you guys are in a top four race. I think you guys are still fine for second. So long as you guys just win a few more games, you'll be fine. But I mean, for Chelsea, like the closer I guess we can get to you guys, it means we're pulling away from that top four race. That's what I want, just to like secure the top four, whether it's third or fourth, to secure that top four. Because I don't know, fifth might get Champions League, but I don't want to have to rely on that.
Yeah.
I want to just get fourth, maybe get third, and just kind of secure it as best as we can. But it's just we have to win this game because we played you guys earlier in the season when we both had everyone fit, and
Yeah.
Arsenal didn't really do much. But Sanchez, that Martinelli goal, you know,
Oh, that feels like ages ago, doesn't it? Like, I remember
yeah,
that. That yeah, it's crazy because I don't think at that point Arsenal had any injuries, so I think it's definitely going to be a different game this time around. And I do notice with Arsenal in the Champions League, we seem to have more energy about us. Like with the league, I know the players can never say the title's over. I know they'll always give everything until it's over, but I think it must be hard for the players because we're so far behind Liverpool. I think at the moment I don't know if it's like 14 points behind Liverpool, which is just crazy because at one point we were 5 points behind it, and it's a tough one. Big question here: Are you leaning towards Arteta? I mean, it's so tough, isn't it? Because I've been very up and down with Arteta over the years, but I think since we've challenged, I've just had this belief in him. Like I've just believed him. I just you can never deny the progress he's made over the years. But as we've spoken about trophies, everything, and like you look at young players as well. I mean, you look at someone like Foden, like incredible. He's won so much, and then Saka is also so incredible, and he's just. I think I don't. I think might have won the FA Cup with Arteta, but that's literally it, and that was like 5 years ago. So I feel as though like I'm giving up a little bit on Arteta. I wouldn't say like I'm out right now, but I am at the point where is this as far as he can take us, as second as far as he can go? Because he's
Mhm.
had a lot of time, and I do feel like the Kroenkes are probably the bigger problem. But I think if they've given Arteta money, and Arteta's chosen to bring the players he's brought
A
in, like he's
lot of
chosen.
money.
Yeah, I don't actually know how much, but it's crazy how much money he's had. It is
It's a
crazy.
lot of money. It's like a lot, and like yeah, I could easily do like the banter thing and laugh at Arteta and stuff. But I do think he is a good coach. But
Yeah,
ultimately, expecting a manager like barely has 5 years of experience in the game to win a
yeah,
title in a top five league, I think it's crazy to have that heavy expectation. But because he's at Arsenal and your squad is good enough to be doing it,
yeah,
that's why he has that expectation. But I just think people just need to like say thank you for what you've done, Arteta. You took us from here to here.
mm,
We're grateful for it, but you do have to go because eventually, like I say, what Poch at Spurs, the great things that you've done, it starts to get sour once you start to dip. Once you
yeah,
start to dip, and if he gets sacked when say Arsenal are sixth, say next season he gets sacked and you finish sixth or something, or you finish seventh or whatever, all your great things you've done then doesn't matter because we know fans, we're fickle, we live in the moment.
yeah,
People will start to say, "Oh, I told you he's always been bad at Arsenal. You've done nothing good." When in reality, you did do
yeah,
great things, but you also did bad things towards the end, and we only remember the bad. But if
yeah,
he was sacked last season, say, people would be saying, "Thank you for everything that you've done, taking us from this place to here. You've got us to a point where we can challenge." And then if you win the
yeah,
league this season, a new manager, you're very much grateful. But but you're right. It is then
yeah,
on the Cronkies because if they keep giving him this money and they continuously let him, like I guess, fail and not win anything, not even domestics, it gets to a
yeah,
point where like Arsenal fans need to start looking at your board, and a lot of the
yeah,
talk is Arteta in, Arteta out. Well, who employs him? And if he's there by the
yeah.
Cronkies have to get rid of him.
I think as well with the Kroenkes, like let's be honest, we've not mentioned them for a few seasons because we have been doing good, and last season was probably our best season in the league with Arteta. I think. I think the football we played. I know at the start it was a bit rocky, but I think we played some really good football, and I did really think we would win the league. But I also think as well, the cup competitions. It's so frustrating how early we go out in them. I mean, I just to lose to United as well this season out of the FA Cup is just so disappointing. And these are the things like if Arteta won the FA Cup this season, I definitely think he deserves more time. I think he's just signed a new contract recently, so it's so kind of frustrating that the owners are just willing to do these things. And I do think I think everyone's responsible for what's going on. I think the players need to take responsibility because they're the ones on the pitch. If they're not take finishing their chances, if they're not, doing good, then they know they need to be performing better. So I think as a collective, I think everyone has to be responsible. Because there's a player that I love at Arsenal, Declan Rice, and I think I would say the last month or last few weeks he's been really good, and he has shown that he could be a really good captain. But players like Odegaard and so many others have just really slipped off the season and just it's just crazy. Like I never really would have expected Odegaard to have been so lacking confidence this season, and not just him. I just think all of our players, a lot of them have just really dipped in form. I mean, Martinelli, he's really fast, he's great, but he can't finish his dinner, and that's we've got a massive problem. But I do agree with you about our owners. I think, like you said, they're the ones that employ him. They're the ones that are allowing it to happen. And I think if we're being honest, like if we finished fifth or sixth, I think they would probably do something about it. They'd probably maybe have a meeting with Arteta. But I think top four, unfortunately, is sort of success to them. And obviously, if Arsenal are having a bad season, the bare minimum is the top four, I would think, and winning something. But it's yeah, I just feel like the owners are just so yeah, I don't really agree with how they are dealing with things, but I think with Arteta, I do think he's got to have a really big summer. Um, I mean, if he doesn't buy a striker this summer, then I don't know what I'm gonna do because
Why is that? Yeah, because I remember, I think it was January, maybe the end of January or when the window ended. Did you see that graphic that was going around Twitter of
uh,
the signings Arteta's made, and he's
yeah,
only signed Jesus as the only striker. Havertz he signed to play as an 8, and the wingers he signed were Trossard, Willian.
it is
Is that
mad.
all?
I think,
Marquinhos.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
why? What's his problem with not having a striker? Because when I remember, because Arsenal like are synonymous with having a striker, Aubameyang, whether it's
Yeah,
like Van Persie, Henri, Ian Wright, etc. You're known for having a clinical striker.
yeah. It's crazy. Like I can't get my head around it at all. I mean, you look at like you said, Aubameyang, Nketiah, they've all moved on, and if I had the choice to have them, I probably don't think they help. I mean, but it's hard to comment on Aubameyang because I know he's older now. But I think with Nketiah, we did the right thing to move him on. But as you mentioned, we've signed a lot of defenders. Like, I mean, I do think we need a left back, and Calafiore, you know, is a good option in the attacking sense. Obviously, defensively, I do think he could improve. But you mentioned like we signed so many defenders and the attackers. Like we've barely got any. Like you said with Marquinhos, I don't really know what happened there. I mean, I think Arteta realised he probably wasn't good enough, to be in the starting lineup. And obviously Jesus, I do think Jesus was having a good season, but he did dip out of form again. Like he just stopped the ability to score. Um, so yeah, it's not really signed an awful lot of attackers. And you know what, we have sort of relied on our youth a bit. And to be honest with you, I do think Lewis Skelly, Wayne Saka have all earned their right to be in this team, but it sort of saved the Cronkies a bit of money. So I feel like we need to just bring in some attacking players now, even on the wing. Listen, I know we've got Sterling. I wanted to ask you about that because the Champions League game the other day, that's how I would expect him to perform week in, week out if he's playing. That's sort of the Sterling that I remember from a few years ago. But other than that, he's not been great at all. Like, he's just not added anything to this team other than the other night. Like, what did you make of that deal? Because I felt like it was a bit of a panic buy, in my opinion.
Yeah, you guys can enjoy Sterling. I hope you
Yeah.
sign him. No, the the Sterling deal. You know what's funny, right? And A Kevin's here in the chat. Hopefully he can like respond to this. When Chelsea fans were complaining about like Sterling back in the summer, I kept saying, and I was adamant that I don't know why people are overreacting to him still being here. Arsenal will come in at the end of the window and get him on loan. I was adamant about that, and it happened because it's just a typical, like, not just an Arsenal thing to do, but mainly an Arteta thing to do to get Sterling on loan from us. And I thought
Yeah.
Sterling would do not well per se, but I thought he would have scored a few goals early on, maybe like
Yeah.
score against Spurs or Man United, and you guys would have signed him permanently. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. He's going to be back here and in Chelsea in the summer. But another signing, look, Mark, I'm going to say this, and when this happens, give me my credit. You guys will sign Rashford in the summer. Whether it's permanently or on loan, I don't know, but you will sign Rashford because again, that's just an Arsenal Arteta thing to
Yeah.
do. And why is it that Arteta signs Chelsea players?
He's
Sterling
got a
on
thing for
loan,
Chelsea players, I'm telling
Jorginho,
you.
like Willian. Why do you guys love Chelsea players? I know it's an Arsenal thing, but like mainly Arteta. I think Arteta signed as much Arsenal players. Sorry, Arteta signed as much Chelsea players as Wenger did.
Yeah.
Like, why?
But the thing with Wenger, though, the thing is with Arteta, he brings in players that are past their best. Well, to be honest with you, Jorginho, I actually quite like him, but I mean, David Luiz, another one example for that. Like, I'm pretty sure near Arteta's starting time when he first joined. But to be honest with you, I never know which was to do for Edu, which was Arteta's decision. But um, yeah, it's a bit strange. I mean, Sterling, I think in a way we didn't have much to lose by bringing them in because it's only a loan. So if he did bad, then he's going back to Chelsea. If he does good, then we can think about that. But yeah, it's a weird one with Chelsea. Like I don't know why we we buy so many Chelsea players. Like I don't get what it is, but I think we need to move away from that. But I think we've had a few good ones. Like I do like Jorginho, but I know he's going in the summer, which is probably for the best because he doesn't really start. He's not really he's more just a player that if anyone's injured, he's players. But yeah, it's actually a really good point here. From Ricky Cookie. Arteta's very picky about the strikers. I do agree with that. Because we had a chance to bring Ollie Watkins in, I'm pretty sure. And I don't know if it's we didn't have enough money or, whatever happened there. Because I think they wanted more money. And I get that. I think he's a good player. I think he would have definitely helped us in this title race. Even if it was just a loan. And with like Rashford, I wouldn't have minded him as a loan, just for the season. I wouldn't have been annoyed at that. I thought, I'd rather Arteta do something and not do anything at all. I know it's not our answer, but if we do it in the summer, like permanently, I'm not really sure that would really help us. But like you said, it's an Arsenal thing to do, and it's so frustrating. I just wanted to say, big up, Aaron Tuck's Arsenal, big up yourself. I feel like the Kroenkes have let you down, and especially not hiring someone to replace Edu, not signing a striker in the summer, and not improving in depth in the midfield and attack. I do agree. I think they are responsible for a lot, but as we've mentioned, Arteta has had a hell of a lot of money and he's spent a lot on defence, really. So I feel like Arteta, in hindsight, could have done things differently. But I do agree with Kroenkes. I think I don't believe they really care about Arsenal that much, to be honest with you. As I mentioned before, I think top four is success to them, but we know as fans, top four isn't success at all. Marquinhos felt like an Edu signing, probably. I do think the pair of them together just wasn't great. I mean, Edu, he left all of a sudden, like randomly, but maybe it's for the best. I honestly do not know what happened with that. I called Raheem Sterling to Arsenal way before the start of the summer. Yeah, it such an Arsenal thing to do. I just hope we just have a good summer. I don't know if we will, to be honest with you. Um, we we didn't even try to get Gokres. Yeah, I don't know what we've been doing. But for Chelsea, like in the summer, how many players do you want to get? Like, what sort of improvements do you need to see?
What do I want or what's
Yeah,
actually going to
go for what
happen?
you want because what the club wants is probably something else.
um, Petrovic is doing brilliantly at Strasbourg, and he's there on loan. So I'd like to bring him back and give him a chance. Um, Big up Aaron.
Yeah,
Give
big
him a
up.
chance, especially if like with certain money and if because I look at the goalkeepers around right now, like All Black. I wanted him like 5 years ago, back in like 2019, 2018. But now, is he past his best? You have Donnarumma, who's been around for like years. But again, is he really good enough in the modern day to play with the ball at his
Mhm.
feet? I don't think so. Jan Summers at Inter Milan, he's not leaving there. And also, he's quite older as well. You have Chevalier, I think he's at Lille. He's having a good season, but I haven't watched him personally, so I don't know how good he actually is. So I'd give Petrovic another season at Chelsea and see.
Yeah,
I want a top center back because with Fofana, he is our best center back, but he can't stay
yeah,
fit. I don't rate Colwell, but we're trying to do this thing where we're trying to build around him for the future. And if that's the case, then Colwell needs the right partner. Um, Midfield wise, Lavia doesn't stay fit enough. And I think even if we keep him, we then need another DM to play in the team. Caicedo's fine. Enzo, I had problems with when we first signed him, but I know what he is. I know if he's improved a lot this season for one, and two, I know if you can mask his defensive responsibilities, he will show you how good he is going
Yeah,
forward.
yeah,
Um, Palmer, I think Palmer will be fine eventually. We need a striker, definitely. We need a winger, at least one, maybe two. Um, so yeah, I guess that's a lot of work considering we spent a
yeah.
billion. But no, I think like honestly, I think we'll sign a striker. We might sign a winger. We'll sign a centre back. I think that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're bringing the right quality in, I think like even if you brought three incredible players, that would really improve your team in the attacking sense as well. I think that's what you're going to do. I mean, I think Arsenal needs a summer like that as well with the attacking players. I definitely think Partey's leaving as well, and I don't really feel much about that. Like, I'm not really too bothered because he's been here a while, and I don't really think he's probably exceeded to the expectations I thought. But I also think he's had a hell lot of injuries as well. Same with Jorginho, he's definitely going. So I think we'll probably have a bit of a clear out in the summer. But I think, like you said yourself, what I want versus what I think the club will do is something different. Um, I would love to sit here and say I'd love at Arsenal to buy Isak or Gyökeres, someone that can really just elevate Arsenal because I don't feel like we've had anyone like since Aubameyang was at his peak a few years ago. I think we've not really had anyone as good as him. I think like Jesus has had really good moments. I think that Havertz had a good season last season, but it's just not happened for him this season. I think Arsenal definitely need a striker massively. I just hope we. I don't want this to sound bad. I just don't want Rashford to be sort of our answer. I think we need someone that's really gonna like elevate Arsenal. I mean, I like Ollie Watkins. I don't know if he would really elevate us, but I just think we need someone to improve us. I also think, like you said, for your team, a winger. We need a few, I think, but I just don't know how much money Arteta's gonna get. I just don't really know right now, and I'm a bit worried about our summer. Like, if we bring in any more defenders, like I think I'll go mad. Um, can see Zubimendi be one of our first signings? Honestly, I just don't know what we're gonna do. Like, I just don't know what's up Arteta's sleeve. I don't know what they're gonna do. I'm a bit nervous to see what kind of summer we'll have because next season again, I think a lot of teams are going to be improving. I would be interested next season actually to see United how they're going to do because this season they're closer to like the relegation zone than they are to probably the top 10. But yeah, I'm excited for next season to sort of see how you guys do. To sort of see, I do expect, like as we mentioned before, Man City are going to be um better. Liverpool are going to keep improving, and that's why I think Arsenal need to bring in the right players. But I just don't have a lot of confidence that we're going to bring in the right players. But I was going to see what the clubs do. But thank you so much for joining me today. The game tomorrow will be interesting. I hope it'll be a good result for us, but I think if it isn't, then you'll probably overtake us at some point in the league. But big up to yourself for coming on my channel. Thank you so much for coming on. And do you want to just tell people where they can find you if they want to give you a follow as well?
Sorry, I think I cut out near the end.
What do you say? Could you hear me okay?
Yeah, I think I cut out. I didn't hear the end bit of
Oh,
what you said.
no, I just said if you to those that want to give you like a follow or find you, where can they find you on social media?
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm on Twitter. Like I have Instagram and like TikTok and YouTube and stuff. So you can follow me there. Everything's at Latimus Prime. But I mainly use Twitter for the most part. So yeah, follow me there. And thank you for having me on. I very much appreciate it.
Oh, you're very
I see the
welcome.
things that you do on your channel and stuff like that. So even though you are an Arsenal fan, like I do actually tune in. I tune in when I can and I have the time. So
Oh, thank you so much. It's been great to chat with you today, and big up to everyone as well that have, joined the chat. It's been great as well to chat with you all as well. Yeah, the game tomorrow. Hopefully, one of us will be happy after the result. But
yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah,
if you're, are you doing like a review and stuff?
I
Oh, tune
might
in.
do. Yeah, I
Yeah,
might do. Also big up to Daniel, who's a big Chelsea
big
fan.
up, Daniel.
Big up to yourself. Take care. You both enjoy Saturday. You too, Aaron. Big up yourself. Thank you so much for the love as well for both of us. But yeah, guys, be interesting one tomorrow. Hopefully, like I said, one of us will be very happy. And yeah, may the best team win, or it could be a draw. You never know. But yeah, thank you as well for all of you that have been watching. Please don't forget to hit the like button on this video as well. Please don't forget to subscribe here if you are new. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye.
Peace, people.